You're listening to Bears Beyond the Gate, a Bristol Bears podcast made by fans for fans. We're three friends who love the club, the game and all things Bears. Each episode we talk about the game that's just gone, look forward to the next one, and every now and again do the odd interview or special edupod. I'm Pete and I'm joined by Miles and Lee for a cheeky beer and a bit of rugby banter from the Bristol Beer Factory tap room. Well, lads, this is potentially our penultimate visit to the tap room.
Well, hopefully, what?
Well, I mean, as in a sort of amateur professional
You're
capacity.
Giving up drinking, pal.
Yeah. Obviously, over the summer we'll be down here all the time.
Yeah.
But I meant in a sort of
Podcast. You're right.
podcast capacity.
So, sorry, Pete. Can you just for the Rivywood boy? Can you explain what penultimate means?
The one before last.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I know. It's because I think realistically we've got one more game left. Sale.
I mean, it got a lot of energy.
And I've got a lot of energy. And I think our last pod of the season will be more of a kind of generic review of the season and maybe discuss various issues that have come up.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
I bet you are. But anyway, we do have a game to discuss, boys. And I think we've got to big it up a bit because obviously Friday night,
Yes.
we had the first time in 2 years that we've had Bath at Ashton Gate for a Prem game. Obviously last year...
How lovely was that?
It was good. It was obviously last year we played them in Cardiff, which was the sort of home away game. And of course we know, and Pat does say it quite a lot, and we say it, is that he's never lost to Bath at Ashton Gate in a Prem game. Obviously, the Prem Cup, we've been humped a few times. And actually, it turned out that they haven't won, they haven't beaten Bristol for 18 years. Bear in mind that quite a lot of those 18 years we were down in the Championship, but it's still a good stat, isn't it? It's still a good stat.
Yeah.
So, of course... I don't know, you're a betting man, Lee. I'm a kind of casual betting man. Miles, I'm not sure he's a betting man. But the reality was we probably thought this was the one opportunity they had to break that record, realistically, just going on the stats.
Yeah.
But of course, the fly in the ointment in some ways was the fact that we needed a response, a big, serious response after the debacle at Northampton. And the team had 2 weeks to prep for it and reflect on it and no doubt stew on it. So in some ways, it was quite a hard one to call because, we knew Bath still have quite a lot to play for. They're still gunning for a home semi. Yeah. And we realistically knew that our playoff hopes were unlikely to be there. And actually, now with the Exeter beating Leicester this afternoon, we know absolutely mathematically we're not in the playoffs. So it was set fair for being quite a good contest. And of course we won. And I don't know whether it's fair to say we won against the run of play or whether that was a surprise. But actually, in the end, it wasn't a routine victory at all. But the fact that Bath didn't score any points at all in the second half, and this is a team that's kind of well publicised of putting on their bench to come back and win. I think it's not just a moral victory. It's it is a in some ways I think we should be fair and say it was a well planned coach's victory and a player's victory because that was what everybody really wanted, and it would have been a very, very disappointing occasion to lose again at Ashton Gate in front of potentially the biggest crowd of the season, and when you have to do the goodbye to all the players, because we've done that before where we've lost those games. So I mean, it was a great win. I mean, we have to say it was an absolutely brilliant win. It's kept going on a one-off occasion. The only caveat to that is that it was 20,000, 22,000 capacity. I think that was
probably.
And I'd say, remember those days when we've sold out Ashton Gate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was... I mean,
26.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the whole of the Upper Lansdowne, I think, was, apart from the media, pretty much empty, wasn't it? So I'd say, it was a glorious evening, wasn't it? Sunny, beers were flowing. Yeah, and the fact that it meant a lot for Bath. There were a lot of Bath supporters there, and more so for us. You're right, to sort of, get over that loss a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, the crowd size was slightly disappointing.
I mean, the thing is, it's one of those difficult ones because it did feel like a bit of an end of term feel to the thing, even though there was still something to play for, theoretically, some sort of playoff points. I think we knew in our heart of hearts we were really only playing for pride. So although that is really important, it didn't quite have that sort of jeopardy that you might have if it was the first half of the season where everybody's trying to get as many points as they can. or if it had been like that semi-final last year when it was like the bodies were right on the line. So,
well, can I interject?
Yeah.
Because speaking from someone who didn't turn up on Friday night, I just want to, I mean, you guys know, but I just want to, in the interest of completely transparency and fairness, I was one of the guys that didn't turn up on Friday night. And the reason for that is because the last few weeks, I've been totally disillusioned, I'll be honest. And not just what we've done on the pitch, which has been bad enough, but like from the start of the whole Tom Tainton thing. And, I just thought, what, I don't want to, I don't want to spend, I kind of, like, the season for me now is finished. I knew it was finished before Exeter Chiefs result today. And I just kind of feel like, personally, I need a little bit of a break from it. And I think a lot of fans are probably, or some fans are probably thinking the same way. So before we start the pod, I thought that was really important for me to say that, and I still love Bears. I'll still be there next season. I still support them as much as I always do. But in the interest of transparency, I just couldn't face it on Friday night.
No, that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough. You're being very honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You watched the highlights, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you've seen some
We'll talk about the game.
Yeah, we'll talk about the game. But
yeah, good points.
I mean, as I said, I set you up for that quite nicely because it clearly wasn't quite as full at Ashton Gate as it might have been. And there are obviously reasons for that. And it's fair play. But Miles and me can't resist going down. And, the sun was out. We've both been away because it was half term down our respective holiday homes. Well, Miles has got a home. I've got a caravan. And actually, I was kind of a hot week down in Devon. We came back Thursday night. I was just looking forward to getting out, really, to be honest. And it didn't disappoint, did it? The social side of it, Miles.
No.
You enjoy yourself?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I mean, we were hosted brilliantly by our friend Lewis, the manager at the tap room. The Bristol Beer Factory beer down at the kiosk was flowing nicely, actually, in the sunshine. Met our friends down there as well, and it was flipping packed, wasn't it? I loved the occasion. And I think we've commented in the last couple of months that I think that Ashton Gate have listened and have done quite well in dealing with the beer queues, etc. And although despite it being a 21,000 crowd, I thought the queues for the beer and the food were reasonable and easy to get around. So a bit of a tick.
No, I think it's important to point these things out. I think there was loads of blokes selling, little women, girls, and boys selling mobile stuff. The Bristol beer, mobile beers, I should say. Excuse me. And more pop-up bars. They'd actually made the car park a bit bigger outside because they were going to have music afterwards. I just thought, it was a good. They did Bongo Cam from the Atio, as we said. They did the roarometer as well, and this time it generally, I thought it did get pretty high. It was quite good.
You'd hope so.
Was that when Carreras was taking a kick at the end or not?
Wow.
We talk about that later.
I think we'll talk about that later. Yeah, there is an issue there. I think fair play to Ashton Gate. It was a well put on occasion. In some ways, it highlights the fact it's such a shame that we don't get that many games at home, like football compared to football when you get into a real rhythm, and also it slightly highlights the fact that why is it taken all season to sort that out?
I know, and
kind of I do think it's down to fan supporter comments, and I know that we bumped into Cameron from the Bristol Bears Advisory Committee, and I know they've been lobbying hard for a lot of things, and they've been really very successful.
I think they're doing a great job.
I think we need to doff our caps to Cameron and all the people on that, because they I think the club have listened to certain things, but the point is that it's taken a bit of time. So fair play, you can't knock it, but. Let's see. So I think that's a positive that other things may come up that may get done.
And hopefully the club will continue to listen as well.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to the game, boys. We talk about the game as well. We were there. That's what we do. We talk about the game. And I mean, it was an exciting start. It started quite well. I thought we definitely looked up for the game. But Miles, you were there, sat next to me, and I mean, what was your thoughts on the first half? Because ultimately we went 14-0 down.
Yeah.
And then we got back to 14-7, and then we went in at half-time 19-7.
Was that a great game, though, when we 14-0 down?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, ultimately, the result was great. You're right, you know.
But I'm just about the first half, because the point about the first half was that, yeah, we were losing at half-time, but you could have argued that it could have been a lot worse in other situations, and I don't know. I just thought we played a lot better than we had at Northampton.
Yeah. Well, that's a given.
Could we have played worse?
Yeah, no. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, Bath came hard, and they were playing well and connecting, and absolutely, you know, with we're sort of, you know, on our try line quite a bit and putting a lot of pressure on, but I think we did well just to sort of only sort of let them score 2 tries. I mean, that Lawrence sort of tap over was, you know. That was hard to defend, that, to be honest. It was sort of like defending them all on the line, and he sort of just saw an opportunity and dived over the top at 20 minutes. Annoying guy, Pepper, Fleming swan dive, you know, disgraceful, at 28 minutes. And then obviously Harding came back with a beautiful try at 35. But yeah, to suddenly sort of
see 14-7. I was thinking that
that's
I'll take that
at half time. I would take that against Bath.
Against Bath, we talk about the reigning champions who pushed Bordeaux quite a long way,
but it didn't.
And we're only 14-7 down. That's my point. I'm trying to make is I thought, considering we'd been disappointing against Saracens, very disappointing against Saints. You know, well, it's easy for people to say, "Oh, we'll have a response," and it's easy to say that. But actually,
we said that.
Well,
but
I think the players have said that as well. I mean, I think, to be honest, the chat was we've got to come back stronger. And I just thought we played well. We were much more structured, much more organised, but we were still up against a really, really good side. So it wasn't. I wasn't surprised that we were losing at half time, but I was kind of strangely, I don't know, not confident. But I mean, we had played well. We did the same old stuff. We did do quite a lot of dropping a ball, a few knock-ons, turning it over in positions, a couple of dodgy restarts, I think. But I don't know, I felt as though it was a moderate first half, and I was at half-time, I just didn't know which way it was going to go. I thought this could go south quite easily. But there was just part of me thought, well, you know, these boys, they're not going to let this happen. There's going to be something. There's going to be ironically a response to the first half, like there was a response to the game.
Saints game.
But just go back to a couple of those tries. I mean, we might as well talk about the issues. I mean, yeah, the Lawrence try, they were pumping the line. I mean, it was almost inevitable they were going to score eventually. We held them off for as long as we could, and I don't think necessarily that was a surprise.
No,
and actually, it was
absolutely.
Ethan Stadden that pushed him over, which I thought was interesting because he looked like a reasonably hefty sort of guy, and obviously he's going to be playing for us next year. So that was quite a positive out of a negative.
Well, absolutely. I thought he played. You know, he played very well for them, and I think he got subbed at 57 minutes. But he looks a unit, doesn't he?
Does. No, I like the look of him. Like the cut of his jib.
Oh, absolutely. So I think that's a good acquisition for next season.
And then the Pepper try actually came from a Ben Spencer break, which is one of those ones that you can get quite upset about because, you know, he went to pass it and then he dummied and went through the gap between the ruck and the guard, and I think it was Santi Grondona, and then obviously he broke, then popped it to Pepper, who, like good flanker, was on his shoulder, and then Grondona kind of made up for it by basically like landing on top of Pepper, and Pepper did go off in the second half. But my point was, on the comms initially they're saying, "Oh, that was terrible defence." So Santi was all over the place, and they were saying, you know, he got sold down the river by Spencer. But then it came out that he then failed an HIA, and they reckon that he'd been smashed on the head just before that ruck.
Oh,
so
really?
the fact was, they were saying no wonder he couldn't see anything, because he probably saw about 20 Ben Spencers and didn't know which one to go for. So there was a little bit of mitigation on that, that they felt as they thought he was probably suffering. Anyway, it was what it was. Then Pepper did that ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what we think about this, because Pepper is now trying to be Pollock. He's like, and is it? I don't think Pepper should do that. He's got to find his own thing.
Okay, so it's a Bath Bristol derby, and he's just scored for Bath.
Yeah.
So I'm not being funny.
And his brother plays for Bristol.
And I just feel like, well, if that was me as a Bristolian, I'm going over the line, I would celebrate as much as I could.
Yeah.
So I got personally, I got no problem with that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. It annoyed me at the time.
Yeah,
On the spot.
I get it, absolutely.
Where we were sat at the Dolman, we couldn't quite see where he landed, and for a split second we thought he might have He might have. I mean, that would have been hilarious.
It actually did look like. I mean, a swan dive. Yeah, it was a pretty long swan dive.
Yeah, but I mean that. But I then wonder whether that put a bit of. Well, I'm going to use a word
Bit
I
of
quite
grit.
like. Well, a bit of hubris into Baths,
Oh,
and
okay.
hubris being you start to believe your own hype too much. It's kind of beyond arrogance, and I wonder that was all part of like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, we're going to beat this lot because we beat them at home and they got humped. And I just wonder whether that was one of the ingredients of the second half where
potentially
they kind of took their foot off the pedal a little bit, even though they scored right at the end of the first half. And and when we came out much more direct in the second half and really took to their game to them, it's almost like they didn't have anything. They just they didn't really cope with it at all. I don't know. It's a theory. It's a working theory that I agree with you. If he has every right to celebrate however much of a knob end it looks like, but I just do wonder whether that was a mindset that they didn't quite get out of until it was too late.
No, possibly.
The other thing I wanted to mention on was Fitz's try.
Yes.
And somebody put this on Twitter saying it was a really good, well-worked try because there was a dummy run to the left and Fitz went to the right, and then he got on the inside of Yules' shoulder and essentially bounced off his shoulder.
Yeah.
Now, I went back and looked at it, and this is what it was Dunny and Owen.
Yeah.
And they'd done it before.
Absolutely it was. Yeah.
And it was where Dunny and Owen, on a ruck, they're the first two, they're latching, they're looking to get the ball, and at the last minute, Randall pops it to Fitz, who's basically using them as a shield.
Yeah.
And it's worked before.
Class.
And I remember I mentioned to Dunny, we noticed that, and they said on the comms they didn't mention you at all doing that, and he was really chuffed. And they obviously done that again, and it's worked.
Yeah, it's worked.
And Fitz is, it was a brilliant, well worked try.
Yeah, it really was.
So Dunny and Joe, I know Dunny might be listening, mate. Again, they didn't really say it was you and Joe,
but we know.
We know that you did it before. And it was a well-worked try. So well done.
And we're all going to miss you.
Literally well done. And that was, and then I think, that was the few issues that came out of the first half. I don't know if there are any other clear issues in the first half, because it was just kind of, as I said, it was a weird one. We were losing, and a lot of people probably would have put their money on us losing the game. But saying, well, they gave it a decent go. We tackled better. But say, second half, we come out. I think Jordan comes on for AJ. Oh, we should mention AJ.
Yeah.
So what do you think about his first half? Miles, what do you think?
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I felt like he had hardly been away, which obviously has been all season. And we talk about this next week or now. Obviously, he's been given another year's contract with the club. I thought it was brilliant. He was sort of direct passing. I mean,
he takes the ball to the line, doesn't he?
Well,
which
absolutely.
Is good.
And maybe some of... Jordan's been great, what you might say is a trial at number 10, but I think AJ was more direct and he wasn't potentially putting the more risky passes that potentially Jordan and his inexperience at 10 we've seen in the last couple of games. Big pat on the back, and I thought for the time he was on the field, brilliant.
Well, let's be honest. If we're going to choose a 10 between us, AJ or Jordan, AJ all day.
Yeah. I mean, I think he gave us, despite, again, this caveat of us losing at half-time, I felt as though we had more structure and more control in the game.
He hasn't played all season.
But I mean, I think that's what we missed a little bit. And maybe the Northampton... AJ's an intelligent rugby player. Maybe, he can organise things a bit better. And that, we were talking about the Northampton game. A lot of the comms was about how we looked disorganised and no one was kind of taking charge. And I think, halfbacks have got such an important role to manage the situation. I should say, I think, but the irony of it all is that then Tom Jordan came on, I thought had the best game I've ever seen him have at 10 for us.
Brilliant.
And he was, and he really, he's the only one that can tell us this, but, he really went for it and he was very direct and he ran, he made a load of breaks, he lot of chip and charges. And I just thought he looked like he was really up for it as well. And I was really pleased to see that. It was maybe he felt he owed us a little bit, I don't know, or he owed himself a good game. And I thought, well, he's probably, AJ, injury permitting, is going to be our 10 next year. But if Jordan knows that, he's got a role to play there, and it's not all on his shoulders. Maybe when he does have to slot in from time to time, it will be a beneficial thing.
Well, potentially. I mean, AJ's, a stalwart of the club. He's played brilliantly for us for seasons. And you're right, maybe that's what Jordan needs, is a bit of direct competition at that number 10, where AJ's playing brilliantly, and he's got to step up in the training ground. So that's probably a good thing.
So we should say that some listeners out there might say they were a bit worried that Adge went off. And hang on a minute, we've got an interruption here. Lewis is in. Let's keep rolling the recording, because we've got a
Gloucester fan.
Lewis has arrived.
It's so raw.
It is raw. It's got rawer. What is it we could do for you, Lewis?
No, nothing. I was just going to say it's been an amazing season.
He hasn't finished yet. Well, he has kind of finished. Are we talking about Gloucester here? It hasn't been that good for you, has it?
Finished for us about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like 3 months ago.
Or 6 months ago.
We'll see you in September.
Yeah.
This is for the pod's sake. I'll probably see you, Monday?
See you
Next
Monday.
week, yeah.
Miles will be down here at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, before he goes to work.
It's not spoons,
I know, yeah.
Quality establishment.
And we should say, on that note, we should say thank you so much for your hospitality, Lewis. Looking after us all season, as you always do.
Yeah.
And, despite the fact you're a Gloucester fan, we do love you so much, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I bleed blue underneath as well, a little bit.
Absolutely.
Good lad. Good lad.
Boys, have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Cheers, pal.
Thank you, listeners. I'll see you soon, all right? See you down the gate in September. Right.
That was a terrible Bristolian accent, by the way.
He's off. Look at him pulling his shorts up as he goes. See you later. Anyway, we could have edited that out, folks, but why? No, we're raw.
It's us.
I mean, we're sat in the Bristol pitch just to set the context. They've all packed up for the night. We're in the side room. They've just left us. They've just left us here.
Left us with all the beer running.
I mean, as my mate Mooney said, it's basically the only podcast he's ever heard of that's in a lock-in.
Yeah.
So, fair play.
We appreciate that.
So where were we chat and took Jordan? Hey, let's get on second half.
Yes.
The second half was where the game was won.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Second half was the game was won. And, we were pumping their line for a bit. And I was thinking, we're playing well here.
It was quite early, though, wasn't it?
Quite early on, yeah.
Yeah.
It was 40 minutes, 45. We started very positively, and then a few rucks. We were quite close to their line, a few phases, and then Rands throws a big wild pass out to the wing, and I looked at it and thought, blooming hell, Arundel's right there. It could be an interception, and then kind of all gets dropped, and then there's a bit of booing from the people close by, and then before we know it,
Penalty try.
Go on, Lee, what do you think of it?
Well, can we just dissect it?
Yeah,
First of all,
what do you
I
reckon?
just thought it was so dodgy for Rands to throw that pass. I don't think, personally, it needed to be thrown. We were in the ascendancy anyway, and I felt indirectly we got really lucky with it, because I couldn't actually see Arundel really touching it that much to knock it
very
on,
tight,
if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But we'll take it, won't we? We'll absolutely take it all day long.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think ultimately they did just about prove on the replays that his fingers had slightly changed the direction of the ball, and as a result of that, or not as a result of it, but then immediately after that, Reece Samet couldn't quite gather it. So the law of averages are saying that tiny little deviation of direction stopped him catching it. The other theory is that he would never have caught it in the first place.
No.
This is true.
But that's history, that isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
So I think I have seen some people say
He did have his eyes closed.
The point is, in the letter of the law, if the ref thought that the deviation had stopped him catching it, then it is a yellow card.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was no
And it was the
cover,
last cup. No matter.
and therefore it was a penalty try. But I think there was a lot of, I would say, if honest fans would probably have thought was a bit of relief went round the ground, or a bit of
I
like, we'll
reckon.
have that one. And then, so of course, 7 points gets us straight back in the game, because then we're 14-19.
Yeah, 45 minutes in or
And
whatever.
45 minutes in, and Peckers are up, Miles. I mean, that your Pecker was up. The players' Peckers were
We
up.
had to go to the bar for that one.
I
Didn't
mean, I just in terms of Peckerage, I thought the atmosphere at the game was good. There was a lot of it was quite frantic.
Well,
I think there was
exactly.
a lot of fans. I think we did our bit
I
as
think
well.
so. There was a lot of solid Bristoling, if I
Yeah.
might add, and by ourselves, and so absolutely, I think that penalty try was
That got us going.
got us going. A bit of contentious, but we'll take that any day of the week against Bath. In fact, any team, to be quite
Yeah.
frank.
Although the
with you.
irony of that whole yellow card was we then didn't do anything with it at all.
Well, no, while Arundel was off.
Partly because Bath played the time. They wasted. There was about 5 resets.
Oh, I know.
Spencer was holding the ball up, wouldn't put it in.
Spencer put everything in the
Spencer-
slow cooker,
He
didn't
did.
he?
Spencer
did.
swapped the ball with a little.
Waiting for home time.
It does raise a question that the
Literally
rest.
checking the ball. Oh,
He
dear.
kind of made Dickson restart, and it does raise the question that I mean, at any time,
Yeah.
particularly in that time,
Yeah.
if the scrum is reset, you stop the clock,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. It
because they worked out it wasted like 3 or 4 minutes.
needs to be addressed as well,
Yeah.
because that going forward next season,
And
that's
then
not
the irony
great.
of it all is they then win the penalty, scrum penalty, after all that shenanigans, and then they've got possession in R22, and we're the one with the yellow card. And,
know.
I mean, ultimately, we didn't score, but thankfully they didn't either. So, but it was definitely raised an issue, didn't it, about the whole kind of the way that, and the whole irony is that they're supposed to be speeding up stuff, and some refs really speed it up, like Luke
Yeah.
Pearce. Luke Pearce, whatever you say, but would not have let that happen.
No,
I don't
no,
think.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is cheating, isn't it? And as a Southampton fan, Pete, you would know all about that.
It's true, mate. There's nothing I can say about it. There's nothing I can say apart from I agree with you.
Oh no, sorry, that was blown about.
I know. And the irony of that, on a slight diversion for football fans who listen, and for those that don't, my club got to the playoff final and then first time ever,
Found
got dumped out of the final for spying. Although I've got to say, I cannot believe we're the only club that's ever done that in the history. I mean, Leeds did it, but I still think that there might be. Anyway, let's not.
Well, no,
get on
you're
that.
the only club that got caught doing
We're
it.
stupid
Exactly.
enough to get caught.
Fucking Leslie Nielsen.
I agree with you, but I mean the whole thing is a shambles. But the irony of that whole thing was the 3 games we spied on, we lost one of them and drew 2 of them. Didn't even like it was,
I'm not being funny, but you spied on Oxford United, for Christ's sake. I mean, Oxford United. Who needs to even Miles could beat Oxford United.
I don't need to go and spy. I could beat them with my eyes
it's
shut.
funny, and again we're still on a tangent here, but it does raise the question of what was the point of that? And I don't know. I just think. Anyway, let's move on. So I can't remember
Let's get back to rugby.
how we. Oh, you said about
Move-
cheating.
Move away from cheating. Oh, yeah.
So Bath cheated. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Right, and then of course we that gave us a bit more impetus, and then we scored with the superstar Max Laheath,
Leafy on.
who drove over like
It was a brilliant
team.
try.
Oh,
It's a great try, latching this leg power of Laheath,
Yeah, I mean, it was
and Laheath,
it was impressive.
Because he came on for Kloska quite early on the
yeah.
second half. Kloska had another HIA, or had an HIA, which is because there was one point where there was a scrum cap in the middle of the pitch
Kloska's
for
one,
ages,
yeah.
and we think it was Kloska's. Like that might have been, but it was like everyone was like, "Is anyone going to pick up that scrum cap at all?" And then
Well,
Batley
that's
lost his headband as well, because normally you see Batley with a little white headband,
You
and then
do.
I didn't recognise him for ages.
I do worry that Klosk's HIA was so bad he didn't realise he'd lost his scrum cap
No, I know.
after the
Yeah.
game,
But,
potentially.
but Max, I thought Laheath. I mean, it's hard to see in the stands, but when I watched it again on the highlights, he looked like a bit of a man possessed.
Do you know what I would give for an injury-free Max Laheath? Because what a player he is.
Brilliant.
I mean, obviously the injuries come with
Yeah.
what he does for a living, but bloody hell, what a player!
I mean, he's probably got the best rig in the Prem, hasn't he?
Absolutely, and also probably the most intelligent player in the whole of
I'd
Premiership
love to
rugby.
hear
I'd say.
some of the things he says though, when they're about to his opposite numbers.
Oh,
Do you know what? I'd love to know what he like. Does he speak like that
I
in
don't know.
everyday sense, or do you know what I mean? Like if we went round to his house
Yeah,
and for a meal, because he's a good cook as
he's
well, by the
very
way,
good
isn't he?
cook, Yeah.
I'd love to know, would he speak to us in those terms?
I think he probably would. I think that's his way. I mean, when I listened
Probably
to it on
speaks to
the,
his chihuahuas like that as well.
I listened when I don't.
Most intelligent 2 hours in Southfield.
You're right.
I mean, I don't know whether you've listened to his podcast he's on.
Yeah.
And he, he's good on that, but he does, unless he's playing up to it. he kind of, I think it is what he's like.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. Anyway, so he scored. But the interesting point about that was that was 65th minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Still a lot of time.
We were only
Oh.
2 points ahead
I know.
for 15 minutes
Yeah.
in that game. Now, again, betting men would have looked, I mean,
Well,
you would have gone on
would-
Betfair then and say, what are the odds of Bath winning from that position? You'd say they were pretty short, I would have thought. Might even have been evens, 2 points behind.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't find a way through. And I think that the defining moment of that was, again, they were in our 22, they span it wide. Maroney tackled, it was either a Jomo or Lawrence, it was one of those two. Great tackle. And then BV comes in and gets his hands right under it. Bosh, turnover. And they were, I mean, that's the most animated I've seen Bernard for a long time.
That was lovely,
He's a
actually,
fairly-
to see that.
Yeah. And that was the turning point in the sense that I thought, yeah, we're going to win this now. I really feel. Then we went down the other end, nearly cocked it up, obviously. But
And that was almost like, what, you think you're good enough to be an England team, do you? I'll tell you what England is.
yeah,
Wallop.
exactly.
Take that.
And maybe that's one of the reasons why Jomo isn't in, because Borthwick wants not just centres, he wants line breakers, he wants jackalers as well, doesn't he? I mean, Bernard he tackles, he jackals, and he takes 2 or 3 defenders.
He's an all-rounder.
And he proved on, like, the debate about whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant to me.
Yeah, of
what
course
he
it is.
proved was, because he got a load of pelters saying, oh, he's not, why is a Jomo and Lawrence? And I think, you know why? Because Lawrence fancies himself too much and he's too worried about his haircut the week before a big
Yeah.
international,
Yeah,
which is
agreed.
which he did.
Yeah.
And played badly.
Yeah.
And a Jomo is still a young lad. And like, he played well, but in an autumn international, and maybe Steve just thought he's not quite solid enough. And it's not just being able to tackle, it's being able to win the ball back as well. And I think that, to me, is why Steve Borthwick, let's give him some credit,
Absolutely.
has seen and said, yeah, he's someone I want to look at, and maybe someone who can do a job, because international rugby is about that. And so, fair play.
To be honest, probably the only time I would give Steve Borthwick credit,
Any
because
credit.
I think he's been an absolute jackass for the duration of his
Yeah.
short England career so far. But yeah, maybe he's seen the light.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But anyway, on the back of that, we then
Well,
get
so
down there.
65 minutes, 65, wasn't
and
it?
then,
Long
and then at the back of that, that turnover, we eventually get down there, and I think we're down in there. We get 2 penalties. We're on line out. It's 79 minutes, and I think the game's won.
But
We're
so
going
you
for the
boys-
bonus
Wow.
point.
But you boys think it's done now, or
What
'cause
on that?
What, 79
No, I
minutes?
thought no.
when you were there, you
When we were
thinking,
there,
like,
I'm thinking we're going for the
we're
bonus.
going
Yeah,
for the boat, right?
We have
absolutely.
to. We have to go to them, because that was the only glimmer of hope.
Any
Oh,
hope,
you know, if you're in the 22 and you've had a second penalty
Yeah,
and go to the corner, you're looking to score.
yeah.
Unbelievably, we somehow lost the ball. I don't know. We were
goodness
like,
knows.
it was like a nice maul. It goes down, and suddenly they've got the ball, which again makes me wonder what the hell was going on. Anyway, they go out of defence. They don't get very far. I think we get it back. But anyway, what happens is we then go off our feet, and that was what was the last penalty. It was in the red. Now this takes us to our little debate
Oh,
there.
just inside,
Wait,
just inside the half, isn't it?
wait a second. So last minute, we had the ball.
Yeah.
I've got a
We
feeling,
lost it.
but
We got it back again.
I think
We lost it. You two must have been. I know you're not nail biters, but you must have been
we
Miles.
have
You
it?
must
I
have at
remember.
least thrown a few
But the
expletives in on
but
that.
the penalty that was given away for Carreras for that last kick was against us going off our feet.
Yeah.
Was that
Therefore, we
Woolley?
must have had the ball,
Yeah.
because you go off your feet to protect, to seal off when you've
Exactly.
got ball. I could be wrong on that. Unless we were, I don't know. Maybe it makes. Maybe maybe they had the ball and we went over the top. Yeah, maybe
so
not.
55 metres out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this brings us to our talking point: is that one of the big tenets of rugby is that you respect the kicker.
And
But
I've
I've got to say, there wasn't a
There
lot of
was none- there
respect going
was
on.
none of
Like,
that.
it wasn't. Personally, for me, where we were, it wasn't booing or hissing. It was a more like
Noise.
please. It was
Yeah.
like it was squealing. It was squealing of pigs that have just piglets that have just realised what their life is all about when the bloody slaughter truck turns up. That was what the noise
It was
was.
like that.
Like
and I like, you know,
Charlotte's Web stuff. It's like, what? Oh no!
I know.
You're kidding me. I'm about to get butchered. What?
And I think
that was the feeling everyone had.
And I think, you know, we would all say Sandy Carreras is a nice guy. You know, I don't think you.
Is he? How do you know he's a nice
Yeah.
guy? Miles? Why have you met him?
No, really seems like it.
But he's played for Gloucester and Bath.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, okay. Actually, he's
a wrong one.
He's a wrong one. He's a quality
Argentinian.
player. He's a quality
probably don't
Argentinian
like us.
player.
No, wait,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He probably puts a
I know why he's-
mistake.
I know why you say that.
He's
he does
not.
look all right.
Yeah, he's not a dirty player. I respect him.
And also, I think the fact is, he's a great player, isn't he?
He is.
And when he's lining up, even at 55 metres out,
Yeah.
we want Bristol to
Yeah.
win, right?
Yeah.
And
always.
but he's one of those guys who could
Oh yeah.
make that kick.
Yeah.
But my point is, going back to this, is there any, like, let's just look at the context. We've been humped by Northampton.
Yeah.
We were beaten badly by Saracens. That
Agreed.
basically got us out of it. We needed a response. We needed redemption.
We needed
and,
a win.
and we were winning. We're beating our local rivals who are much better.
near the top of the table.
And
yeah.
we've come back and we've stopped them scoring for the whole of the second half. And that's the one thing. We know we've lost the bonus point. So it's not about getting
it's
in the
gone.
playoffs. It's about that
You're right.
moment in time.
So did the injustice of
that
losing
we
those first
cannot-
minutes warrant?
But there's times that you cannot lose that. At that point, we're all, the whole of the Bears fans,
Yeah.
we cannot lose the
Agreed.
game. now.
Agreed.
We cannot. It's almost too much to bear, literally. So I don't think it was booing. As I said, I think it was squealing of suddenly realising your mortality was right in front of you.
Right. So I'll second that by saying if I was there, I would have probably streaked on the pitch to put him off. Genuinely, I wouldn't have booed, but I would have streaked.
But anyway, the beauty
Like
of that
bacon.
was, I mean, I
Love
couldn't
it.
watch. It was a bit like it was a bit like those sad Arsenal fans last night trying to watch when Gabriel came up for that last penalty. He couldn't watch, and then they look up, the ball's gone out the stadium. Anyway, Carreras' kick wasn't quite as bad. But what was so good about it was as soon as he kicked it, you could
He
hear
missed it.
The South Stand started. No, the South Stand
I
started
think they
cheering.
started cheering.
You
And
knew it
even
was
then,
wide.
Noah Hewitt caught it and then tried to run it.
I know.
Do you know what? Come on, we need to have a conversation about that because that was absolutely stupid, wasn't it? That was beyond stupido.
Because everyone then is going from squealing pigs that
Yeah.
just
Like,
suddenly
just
had a
win.
had
Just
just
to
had
win.
Game's over.
But they also, we've just realised, well, we thought we've had a reprieve from the slaughterhouse. It's like, oh, not today, lads. We'll come back.
Yeah.
And then suddenly,
What we'll
they're
do,
back again.
give them a chance to cough the ball up, and then they'll score and win it.
Unbelievable. I nearly had a cardiac arrest.
So we went from
Started
squealing to cheering, back to squealing again. And then literally there were like all age groups, all demographics were all shouting,
Just win the
kick
game.
Yeah.
the ball, win the game. It was almost like a chant. Kick the
ball,
ball, win the game.
That's got to be a personal message to Noah. You've been brilliant all season, mate, but don't do that shit anymore.
I know,
right?
but
Just
who
kick it out.
Who kicked it out at the end?
Bernard.
He saw that. He saw
Sensible.
Of course
He's
he
like
did.
Egg Gans.
That's why he's England.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's English through and through. I just love. I actually quite enjoyed all of the sort of all of that sort of indignation of like Bath fans that were like, how could when a Jomo and like Sir Lawrence.
I know.
It's just the indignation.
It's all madness, isn't it?
worth it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Scotland wouldn't have even got anywhere near
And
close
also,
to.
when Borthwick go on that, when he was asked about it on Rugby Union Weekly, he just said, "Look,
I picked the
the
best
rules are
team.
the rules. It's my job to pick the best team. I don't
Yeah.
see the debate." I thought,
Yeah.
fair play,
Yeah.
fair play.
yeah.
On that note, though, you haven't picked Fitz Harding, though, have you? But anyway,
No.
we'll leave it at
Well,
that.
we'll leave that
Well, then
one.
we'll come back.
Well, not yet.
No,
Not yet.
No.
So anyway, I think that's the game done. I think we've done justice. But I wanted to mention a few players, player performances, and the first person I want to mention is Fitz Harding. He didn't get man of the match, but I think he was very close. And before we do talk about Fitz, I just want to say that Neil Williams, Bristol Rugby Stasso,
Yeah.
tweeted out
Stasso.
saying that despite playing most of the game with a broken hand,
Yeah.
Fitz Harding scored his 20th Premiership rugby try, Prem rugby try as
Yeah.
a forward last night, and he is just the second forward to score 100 Prem points for Bristol Bears.
That's really
so-
impressive.
Amazing.
I mean, what is he? 24 years old now.
24,
Yeah.
25,
Bloody
captain.
hell! Brilliant.
But you know what? We've got even better than that stat.
Yeah.
We actually got to talk to Fitz after the
Legend
game.
himself.
So after the game, as Fitz was leaving, we caught up with him and we did a walk and talk.
You
and we
hassled
said,
him.
Fitz, boys of the pod, he knows who we are because his parents listen, and I know his mum and dad may well be listening. So we thought, well, let's talk to Fitz. So we had a little, and he said, "Is it all right if we walk and talk?" Fitz, I said, "I'll do anything for you, mate. I'll follow you to the end of the earth."
Lay down the red
for you."
carpet. And
So anyway, it's a bit of a breathless, slightly windy walk and talk, but let's listen to what Fitz said.
So I'm here with Fitz, unbelievable legend of the club. Just give us your thoughts on the game, mate.
It was a great contest, I think. Especially at half time, I think, in the change rooms, we were really clear what we had to do, but we had a fair bit of work to do. But yeah, super proud of the lads, especially the way we bounced back after the last couple of weeks. So yeah, delighted.
I was just going to say, as captain, you must have kind of felt the pain of last week, but as fans, it was just like an unbelievable response for us in the crowd. I mean, we tried our best for you, but you responded. But did you hear the crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. I said at the beginning of the week, we've got 20,000 people in that stadium who are willing us to succeed, and I think that when you have a crowd like that, it's one thing to use them, but you've also got to fuel them as well. And I thought the boys did that outstanding well today, and the crowd responded as we knew we would. Flory.
Sorry. Just last thing. I know you're a very diplomatic sort of person, but I mean, we've been bigging you up as someone who should be in the conversation for England. You can't really do anything more. I mean, what do you think? You're just going to keep plugging away at that, and one of these days you'll get a call?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few conversations with Steve. I know how competitive that position is. So, but yeah, I have a lot of conversation with Pat as well in terms of how I can get my name in the ring. And I think my number one thing, and it's easy for me because the number one thing is to play well for Bristol, and the only thing I can do is try and get Bristol to play in finals, play in semi-finals. That's how I'm really going to get there, I think. But yeah, not in my control really. So yeah.
Mate, we really appreciate it. I'm sure your mum and dad will be very proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, guys.
No, we really appreciate your efforts. Have been unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
This season.
So, boys, there we go. There's Fitz. A little bit windy. He was on his way to the car.
Was he? He had a good curry.
But yeah, well, that was probably later. So, any thoughts on what he said?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're absolutely right. He wheeled the team on to give a response for the last 2 weeks. Knowing there was a huge crowd, it would have been hugely disappointed to get the loss, and the boys done a job. He played absolutely amazingly. I think as we were walking and chatting to him, I only just realised he had a sort of cast on his hand, and flipping heck, it's hard as nails.
I went to shake his hand and felt at the end it was a bit stupid.
Now we know, playing 75 minutes of the game with a broken hand. I mean, his legendary status is just increased.
Well, Lee, let's just talk about this England thing. So, it is a competitive bat row. We know that, and there's no easy routes. But it seems to me that he is hitting every stat higher. I mean, he's got biggest turnovers. He's got most tackle. He's right up there with tackles.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and actually, fair play. Austin Healy said this a couple of weeks ago. Is that he's never ill. He plays the whole game. He's got endurance, and he's not injured.
Yeah.
And at some point, it almost feel like, how can you ignore that sort of those stats? And he's not like he's playing. I don't know. And he's scoring tries. He's skillful. He jumps in the line out.
Oh, he ticks all the boxes.
He ticks boxes.
Absolutely.
And I think he was interesting, but I don't know. I mean, do you think that he's just one of those players that he's gonna miss? It's just not his.
His time.
I don't believe that at all. No. One thing I would say, right at the start of the interview, I was a bit disappointed how sycophantic you were.
Oh, I was very sick.
Yeah,
but I had about 10 pints, and we just beaten our local rivals.
Kind of churned my tummy over a little bit, but I'll forgive you for that because Fitz is that good. And yeah, I do. I mean, all joking aside, those stats. And those stats for Fitz, they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single game. And there will come to a point where you cannot ignore it. And he's already now opened the door. But I think next season, maybe that door will be absolutely hammered through.
No, I think you're right.
And there'll be no way that Borthwick can ignore it.
And also, I think it's interesting, it's telling that on comms, people at Benkei, people like
Austin
Austin Healy,
Healy.
they're all talking
Yeah.
every time he has a
They
game.
do.
I mean, they maybe not in the Northampton game, but in quite a lot of the games, they're all now saying he's had a great season for
Yeah.
Bears. He's being noticed, and I think those people do have a little bit of power.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if I was, I go back to the disgraceful football club that I support, Saints. But
Yeah.
a couple of seasons ago, we were actually top of the Premier League. It was in November when Hassan Hoot was our manager.
Oh, yeah.
and it was
Like
like
2 games
it was,
in,
and it
wasn't
was
it?
all that thing around the time when it was. But the point was, it was around that time when Trump was like, "Stop the count, stop the count." because
Oh,
we're winning.
right, yeah, yeah.
And I've got a mug that says "Stop the count," and it's got the table with Saints at the top, which I've now smashed. But the point I'm saying with Fitz is, don't play against Sale next week.
No.
Stop the count now. Stop the count
Keep
on all
your
the
stats.
stats.
Absolutely.
Do you know what, though? I mean, that is a really good point. I mean, all joking aside, I think Sale next week, we should now start breeding in some youngsters because,
Yeah.
I mean, the season's over for us.
Yeah.
And now's the time, to get, to introduce these guys to the audience.
Go for
I think Thomas Gwilliam is
Yeah.
re-signed.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
signing.
That's brilliant.
E to me is another jib cutter.
Yeah.
He's solid, thick, thick.
Why not
lad.
start? Why start him?
Start him in Sale and
Absolutely.
Facts on the bench.
Yeah.
If it all goes wrong, you got Facts on the bench.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, mathematically,
If it goes wrong, it doesn't matter.
mathematically,
He's a
we're
cla-
out of the playoffs, aren't
He's
we?
a classic example
Yeah, go for it.
of somebody who should start.
All these
Yeah.
youngsters, have coming off the bench in the last couple of games. Just start them. Why not? Without some big names on the bench.
You
Go
know,
for
I'm
it.
always thinking, give Bernard the day off.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to, if he's got a chance of England or whatever, I don't want him
Don't
to get
push it.
injured
No.
now. So, we could get Jack Bates.
Yeah.
He's desperate to play.
Yeah, he didn't get a game
To be honest,
Friday,
I think
did he?
Jack Bates in the centre, I think he's
Put
brilliant.
Jack Bates at 13, he's played at 13.
Yeah.
Put Jack at 13, he's desperate to play.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Maybe put Tom Jordan, I don't know, because he's got the Scotland to think about.
Yeah.
I'm actually now thinking we've got a duty of care for some of these players to keep them fit for their other responsibilities, which will make them better players. Like Sam Worsley, I mean, maybe I don't know. Is AJ going to? We don't know if AJ was injured.
I think we want Edge back.
No,
don't
we do want Edge. And
It's Sal as well.
ex-
isn't it?
And
He'll
actually,
wanna
we did
play, won't
speak.
he?
We did speak to his brother, Mark McGinty, who's a friend of the pod, and actually came to find us. And we said, "What happened?" And he said, "Well, he implied that it was a precautionary measure that he came off at half time.
Yeah.
He's not injured.
I mean,
No, you
that
can't.
makes sense.
but I think
Yeah.
Adge will probably want to play at Sale, wouldn't he?
I think
Because,
so. I think so.
and if he does get injured, he's got all summer to get fit again. So I think Adge will play. Scrum half, it's going to be Marmion or Rands. We haven't got any other options unless he gives Max Pepper a little go, see what he's like.
I don't know. I think Rands or Marmin
Yeah.
probably. I think they need to start
I think
one
if
of them.
Kloska's got an HIA saving,
Yeah.
Santi, I mean, he got an HIA, he's leaving. Be a bit harsh, but then again, it's like he's earning money. Pat,
Well,
your wages
throw
can't
him
be,
in.
actually.
Absolutely.
We still
Yeah.
want to get some
One more
money out of
game.
you. Yeah, Dunny. Would Dunny play at Sale? I would have thought
I
Dunny.
would have thought Dunny
Dunny,
would play.
Dunny
so.
and Owen.
Last game for the
Bats.
Be
club.
surprised.
Why not? I mean, they all want to play. They want to play rugby, don't they? To be
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
their game. That's their. Yeah, but maybe I'm trying to think if we got any youngsters left because Boshoff's injured, Carrington's injured. Who have we got?
By the way, you
Victor Worsnip.
you boys spoke to Dunny after, didn't you? Or did
I
you
saw
shake
him
his hand?
I saw him very quickly at the game.
At the presentation.
At the presentation, said thanks, and then he then texted me to say he had to take his sister home.
Yeah.
So that's the life of a top
I think his
level
mum
pro.
still needs some decorating as well
Yeah.
with Dunny, so you might have to give me a
So
text.
we had a nice conversation anyway, and we've said
Hopefully we'll have a catch up before he leaves
look
Bristol.
forward. Yeah, he did say he'd come down the tap room at some point.
Good
so,
boy. Yeah.
and so fair play. Anyway, we kind of skipped over because there was one other player I wanted to mention in regards to the game, and that was the legendary Bernard Yancey.
Bernard
the well-known Englishman. And of course, he was named Thatcher's man of the match.
He was.
And we love it when Bernard gets man of the match because we just love listening to his post-match
cliche.
interview. But you know what? We went one better. Rather than TNT's post-match, we did our own post-match interview.
Oh, you boys
So,
are brilliant.
Not only
See, this is why I love watching you from the outside.
not only did we speak to the captain of the club, we also had a little post-match with Bernard.
Man of the
And
match.
hopefully not so sycophantic this time.
No.
Wow, shall we have a listen?
Okay.
And let's see what
Let's
we
do
think.
It was a bit noisy. Give it a go.
Right, so we're here with the legendary Bernard Janssen van Rensburg, man of the match again. Could you just give us a few comments of the game today?
Yeah, it was obviously an absolutely amazing night. We did it for the fans. Great result for us. I think they said a stat earlier in the week that we've never lost to Bath at home. And obviously really proud of the boys getting stuck into them, and then fighting until the end to get the result. Also for a few of the Bristolians leaving, like James Dunn, this fixture means a lot to someone like him. So yeah, we did it for them.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game for the fans to watch. Did you have a little chat with Max and Ollie at all after the game?
Nah, not really. Both of them obviously good guys. They just said well done. But yeah, both of them good guys, so I didn't really chat.
That's brilliant. We really appreciate all your efforts this season.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
Very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, Lee, I think you have a couple of comments about that interview.
Well, I mean, I thought the first one was sycophantic, but that one was just literally drool. You drawled all over him. I'm surprised he could even speak with, I don't know, saliva coming out of your mouth.
Mine was popping at the end. Cheers, cheers, mate.
I know. Do you know what? It's almost like if I'm not with you, I don't know what's going on.
This is what happens, really. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've got people, legends, live on air.
I mean,
but to be fair, you both did a brilliant job, and I mean, it was great to hear from him, wasn't it? I mean, I love the cliches.
I love it. He stitches tight, tick, 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 tick. He's just stitching them all together. Credit to the boys. Did it for the fans. Nice to beat Bath. It's just, and then he came in with a very heartfelt. Did it for Dunny.
Yeah.
People like James Dunny.
Yeah, that was lovely.
And this is what people. The love of their country and their hometown.
Absolutely.
And apparently on TNT, he made a joke where they said, they said something about what he goes, well, obviously I don't come from Bristol with his little link. But he's a funny guy.
And you know what? I mean, the thing is, he gets it, though, doesn't he? He knows how important it was to Dunny as a Bristolian to win that game. And that's what it's all about. And to be honest, it doesn't matter wherever you come from, does it?
No.
He gets it.
One biggest disappointment with that interview, because it was really done real quick, is that I wanted to chip it up so he could volley Coach Pat into the top corner. And now it's one of those, I failed. I got home and thought, how could I have got him to say Coach Pat? And I realised I could have said something like, well, Saints was difficult, but did you feel that you had a much better game plan tonight? Was it, did you feel like what did you talk about in the week? I could have got all of that, and he would have said, yeah. Well, Coach Pat said, and I missed a trick.
Yeah, but the thing is, we wouldn't want to set anyone up like that, would we? In all honesty.
No. Just setting up
so anyway,
a cliche fall.
So that's Bernard. I think I only wanted to mention two other things, performances. We're going flip-flopping, aren't we? But
that's
Genji, there was one where he got tackled by Lee Dickson, which was quite funny. You missed that.
I didn't see that.
Genji ran into that. No,
he tackled Dicko, didn't he?
Well, Dicko got in his way, and then he tripped over Dicko, so it looked like Dicko, and then Dicko rolled over and they had a bit of a laugh, but then Genji used that opportunity, because it was on the
do him again.
No, to then start lecturing him on how the fact that Bath weren't taking contact in the scrums, which was quite funny. But then later on, there was one bit where he caught the ball in the backfield and he just went on a rhino charge, and literally everyone was like, whoa. And I think it was somewhere under. It was a big unit that he went into, and it was a coming together of. I think he won the collision just about. So there was a lot of good Genji moments in there as well.
It was.
And then
that's what we love. That's why we love him, isn't it?
The only other person I wanted to mention was just Harry Thacker. I just thought he looks as good now as he did when he first came.
Well, he's never changed, has he? He's never, ever, ever changed.
And my Mrs. Jules came to watch, and she's like, "Oh, Thacker's my favourite player. Look at his flowing locks."
Disgraceful, Lee. Oh. Kid you not. But you're right, injury-free, he's as good as he's ever been, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that bodes well for next year, because we might need him.
Absolutely.
Well, we will need him.
A lot of them. A couple of other things. So, I mean, I was thinking the Sale game, we kind of touched on it. It's one of those difficult ones for selection. We you've got to go full ball, because you can't go half ball in rugby, otherwise you get injured. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm sure Pat will pick some sort of hybrid team that will involve. We definitely would like to see someone like Gwilliam play in. I'd like to see Chat Bates start.
Yeah,
because we know from his dad that he's desperate to play.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Heward, I would say keep him at fullback.
Yeah.
I'd make Lewis
Make
Rees-Zammit
Rees-Zammit
play.
earn his
He's
money.
got to earn his money, so he needs to
Absolutely.
play. We need a couple of tries off him to get a bit of a return on that investment.
Adja's going to start.
Adj will start.
sure.
It'll
Well,
be
yeah.
Rans or Marmion. I mean, I guess there's one big issue that we might need to start a lot of English players for the
English
the-
qualified.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
going to get fined.
I know. So, I mean, George Taylor came on.
He did.
Yeah.
He played.
Actually, he might
I
start.
think George will get a start, and he's the kind of Santi replacement.
Yeah.
I thought actually a lot of people said, and I do know of his family a little bit, that he looked like a good replacement for Santi if he comes through next season. He can play 8, he can play spat row, and
I think
lock.
he's one of the players that is close to being
Yeah, I think he's
like
very close.
proper match ready.
Yeah. And I think we're going to have to, fingers crossed of injury free and stuff, but we may find him stepping up next year to be
so. Yeah, let's hope
Dunny,
so.
obviously fitting Dunny's shoes, but maybe, pushing on as well.
Mm.
And then maybe, I don't know, we're talking front row. Will Genji get a rest? He's a very tired man, Genji. He's had a lot of rugby, hasn't he? He's going to play in England. I wonder whether they might rest him and put Woolmore in, start. Maybe Genji on the bench.
Possibly.
Wooly could get another cap, keep pushing those. Tight-headed Max, maybe. I don't know what Lovejoy, is he injured? Chawatama?
I think he's still out,
He's
isn't
still
he?
on the unavailable, isn't he?
I think
But
so.
maybe
I'm
it's
not
time to
sure.
put in one of the Halliwell, give him another
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Or Sam Scott, one of those academy boys, get them on the bench. Be a good challenge, because it literally doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
The result. We're in champions. It doesn't matter whether we come
Not really.
sixth, fifth,
Yeah.
And there is
or whatever. We're not going to come
Absolutely.
seventh. So
No.
I mean, it would be. I think it's kind of one of those interesting weeks. It'd be interesting to see how they
Do you know what?
go.
Bizarrely, it'd be weird, wouldn't it? Because normally go away to Selm, we're almost like doom and gloom, aren't we?
Yes, yeah.
But actually, it could be one of those games where we think, well, shit or bust.
Yeah.
We can actually win this one.
And I think fair play to any fans that go up there next week.
Yeah.
It might be quite a jolly atmosphere because they've got nothing. Both teams are kind of. It's going to be there'll be
A free-for-all.
Yeah, free for all. There'll be a kind of a slight kind of cloud of disappointment over the
both
stadium
teams,
for
isn't
both
it?
teams. But that could render it quite a fun game where there's a lot of Harlem Globetrottering going on, and we might see things like Dunny might get to take a conversion because it's his last game or something like that. That'd be brilliant.
That would be brilliant,
Do you
wouldn't it?
think Pat would allow that sort of thing?
Well, I think he should.
Maybe
I reckon
maybe
if
on
we
80
score
minutes,
a try
if we're 20 up.
right under the sticks, I reckon Dunny should be allowed to take a conversion.
Well,
Dunny could, if he's listening, it'd be nice to know if he felt that he's even got it in him. Has he ever kicked the rugby
Was
ball?
it under Pat's time? David Lemmy did the same.
Oh,
but he
would-
missed
No, that
on
would-
his last
no.
game of the season.
That was
I remember that. Yeah, you're right.
No, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he
they
did.
They get David Lemmy,
Yeah.
and he missed it. But it was the legend that he was.
I mean, I'd rather see Dunny, rather than in front of the sticks, I'd like to see him line up right on the touchline on the wrong side and see if he can slot that one.
Can you remember? It was in training as well. I'm sure it was a couple of years ago. Well, probably 5 or 6 years ago. Stephen Luatua took
Yes.
a kick and he
Yes.
just planted it
It straight
bang in the middle of
Yes.
the posts.
I think we need to see a bit of mix and match.
It'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
It would.
I think it would be, and why not?
That would be a perfect end to
Yeah.
what's ultimately
Well, on
been a
that
disappointing
note,
season.
a couple of ends. I think we should mention the women, although I'd say it's slight trepidation. So it was their last home game of the season on Saturday as well, and it was a charitable one. We mentioned it last pod, raising money for breast cancer awareness, Pink Day. Unfortunately, they got hammered by Chiefs at home. And do you remember we went to that? Oh, did you come to me that Chiefs game? Their supporters were nauseating.
Yeah,
There was they had like a drum and stuff.
Yeah, but they're Chiefs fans.
In fact,
Yeah,
no,
they are.
I went with Neve, my daughter, a couple of seasons ago, and they were all like mad Chiefs fans that all sat there shouting things like "She's knocked it on," la 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 la. It was like
dear.
nauseating stuff. And I imagine, no offense to them, I'm sure very nice people, but it must have been quite doubly nauseating having some of their fans there.
Yeah.
And also, we're losing 11 players, I think, for
Yes.
next season.
I mean,
it's going to be.
They're losing a lot of players going back to a lot of international players. The Scottish and the Welsh ones
going
are
back
going back.
to the central contracts.
Yeah.
aren't they?
We've lost the 2 Canadians are leaving.
Yeah,
Kate for a bit.
Two Welsh.
Yeah.
Too Welsh,
and Emma Orr, Scottish as well.
I don't know what
Jasmine
I think.
Joyce,
I mean, it's
Alicia
been,
Joyce.
I mean, that's a whole different area, but it's not been a good season for the women at all.
No, it's been pretty poor, hasn't it?
And I hope that they'll be, that it's a blip, and then we'll get back on the playoff hunt next year, because
it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, I did not see that result on Saturday.
No.
I mean, Chiefs have been very, very good, but we had eight,
Reasonable
nine
time.
internationals in the Six Nations, varying across the nations.
Yeah.
I think the girls would have come back, and that's a disappointing route,
but
isn't it?
we know full well that they would have put their bodies on the line.
Of course they would.
But I think it's a sort of time to, again, like the men, it's like a bit of a reset again, isn't it? And but maybe we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
And then finally, to finish off, I got a few shout outs. We mentioned Cameron from Bears Advisory Committee. I've already mentioned him. I just wanted to say I think they're doing a great job. I think they really have made a difference, and I think all fans should support them.
Off our caps.
And when they're asking for feedback, give it when you can.
Please
so
do.
fair play to Cameron, and
and the whole team. Yeah.
someone who went to Cloneffley, we have a lot of respect for him as well.
Yeah. I mean, he drank whiskey with me all
He
night,
did.
so fair play to the boy.
Listen, fair play. Just wanted to name check the fan to 5K thing that I mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If people follow our socials, sign up. We're kind of, there's a whole list of clubs.
We're on it,
and we're on it
We're
as the
doing
kind
it.
of Bears Beyond the Gate as the Bears thing. Only
Jesus, we're not running it.
No, it's not us. I don't think it's us.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were.
No. You've got to sign up for an app and stuff like
Can
that.
we do a fan to 5 meters?
What you've got to do is download the Fans to 5K app, and then you sign up and join. And then if you go out running, it connects it to Strava, and then every mile you do, it adds points. And so the whole point is that there are loads of different clubs. There's some football ones, and we're the representatives of Bears. There's Bath supporters.
Okay.
At the end of the summer, like the highest cumulative number of miles is the winner. So it's a kind of competition.
Right.
I
So
see.
the more people that sign up for it, the more chance there is of winning. Now, I signed up for it before and never went running once, so I do apologise. But I'm going to tweet it out and I'll put the link in. And I think, if there are people out there that, of a fitness type
I'm
thing,
happy to sign up.
Yeah, well, I'll
And
send you the
if
link.
someone wants to run with me,
But I think all you got to do is, you put it to Strava and then you go out. And I think it starts like the starting date is the 8th of June. So that's when they'll start recording. Yeah. And the guy that done it, Grant, who's the guy that organised it, has emailed me a few times. And, he's put an awful lot of effort into this. And he's doing it he's a fitness instructor, I think, but he's doing it for the love of kind of getting people fit. Yeah. And his whole concept is that you kind of build into this sort of friendly rivalry type thing. So we are the representatives of Bristol Rugby, and Bath supporters, I know, the actual supporters group are doing it for Bath. So,
does that mean we can...
Well, we could beat him again, couldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's Fans 5K. So check our socials for how to sign up for that, and I'll try and remember to put a link in the show notes. We want to say massive thanks to Rachel Pierce, a long-time supporter, who, when we turned up at the tap room tonight, the bar... one of the bar staff said, Rachel Pierce has just rung through. She just paid for 4 pints for 3 pints for you. So an end of season drink from Rachel. We very much
thank you, Rachel.
We always appreciate your efforts and your emails and keep them coming. I met some guy in the queue for the beer called Mike. I think he was called Mike. I'm really sorry if I got that wrong. And he was very enthusiastic about a lot of stuff. But it was nice chatting to him. And then finally, I wanted to shout out to Michelle, Mike, and Christy. We met Christy and Mike in Cardiff. Well, I did, because when I said we might meet in the Philharmonic, I went into the Philharmonic early doors, and there were 2 rugby fans there, and they kind of looked at me, and I looked at them, and they said, "Are you Pete?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, we literally only started listening to the pod like last week, and you said something about coming to the Philharmonic." So we had a really nice chat with them, and then we bumped into them, and I think Michelle is Christy's mum, met her as well. Hope her feeling better, because she was, I think she had a few, she's walking around on crutches, so hopefully that. So I promised I'd give them a shout out, but apart from that, I haven't got much else to say.
Well,
thank God.
I just want to say a big shout out to Nick Howell, who's doing a big run today.
Mate of ours, absolutely.
Massive friend of the pod. Well done. Congratulations to you, sir. I also want to say a big shout out to Cruity, because we've not heard from Cruity for a little while. and he's
No.
been busy.
He did put something tonight, actually.
Oh,
that
did he?
Tagged us in.
Oh, okay.
And he said that, and I think I was going to leave it till the last pod.
Oh,
okay.
sorry if I'm...
yeah.
If
So
it's
he
a
said,
summary, we can.
he said,
chat
I know
about it
the
next
Bears Beyond the
week.
Gate lads will pick apart a solid Bristol Bears win versus Bath Friday night, as well as a well-earned result after the lads proper grafted. But in a weird way, I'm glad with Chiefs win today, it's all over when it comes to making playoffs. As
Yeah.
in my opinion, even if we'd snuck in at the end of the season, we basically wouldn't have won.
Oh,
No.
well,
So
Yeah,
Matt's,
to be
Matt's
fair-
back on. He's back on it.
I totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
but I
as
think
well.
that's something we might pick up in
Next
our
week.
end of
Yes,
season
yeah.
to have a little look at everything. So, Cruty, good to know that you're back and
Alive.
you're typing up your long tweets, which are really actually very. It's where I get
yes.
most of my information from.
Oh,
to be honest.
absolutely.
So I missed you over the winter.
Nose isn't
Well,
the right word, is
He's
it?
brilliant. He's brilliant. So anyway, on that note, boys, I think we've done now. So everyone, we've got one more week to go. Have a good week. Stay safe. And 1, 2, 3.
Up the Bears.